Good evening and welcome. Tonight, is there an acceptable half and half scarf? Hear about the Liverpool Supporters Club that started because of Phil Neale and find out how you can meet Ronnie Whelan. I'm Graham Mack. This is Read All Over YouTube, which is the online version of Read All Over the Land. The Liverpool Fanzine, the longest lasting and only surviving Liverpool fanzine, next season celebrating 30 years in print. The editor and creator is John Pearman. Evening, John.
Good evening.
How are things going with the fanzine?
Well, the last home game was a little bit of a nightmare, to be fair, mainly because we got, was it Storm Ashley came to visit us? And people were spending more time running around trying to find the hats that had blown off or the scarves that were blown off somewhere than stop to buy a fanzine. So it was, and this, one of our sellers, Steve, who you know well, he said people couldn't hear him. So that shows you how strong the wind was.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But we got through it, and then we've got 3 home games in a week now. So hopefully by next Saturday when we play Aston Villa, we should be looking to have sold out.
Okay, and that'll be this version, which is the issue with the Dutch Masters on the front. And in the middle is a centre page spread all about our night at the Ronnie Whelan night at Hotel Anfield. And there is a picture there of me with Ronnie Whelan. No, not Ronnie Whelan. Peter Beardsley. Ronnie Whelan's coming up. I'm getting them all confused, John. So there's a picture of me and Peter Beardsley. The Ronnie Whelan night is coming up. Yes, there's a picture of me and Peter Beardsley. That was a great night, wasn't it? It was a nice night at Hotel Anfield.
Yeah, it was. We invited along members of the, I'll try and get this right, Merseyside Deaf People's Association. And I thought they may turn up with about 8 members. There was 33 plus 2 interpreters and 2 of their senior members, committee members. So they certainly filled the place. They got it.
They were first in and last out as well, weren't they?
They were certainly first in and last out. Yes, I don't know whether they knew that they'd stopped selling, but they still got drinks on the table. So they did, yeah. And I think whilst I was going out to get in a taxi, their bus arrived, minibus arrived. So
right,
yeah. But they'd come for a big night out.
Yeah. Right. It was a good night. All right then. Well, let's meet the first of our 2 guests tonight. Our second guest. She said she's got to work or something, but she will be joining us. She's from the Milton Keynes and Northants Supporters Club. But let's meet Dave Newbold. How are you, Dave?
Hello, guys. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
it's always quite weird when like you do these daft little projects and then they just keep popping back up every now and again. Every few years, someone sort of finds them and gets interested. So it's always nice to sort of, blather on about them and, see where it goes.
Well, it's more than a daft little project. It's a protest against half and half scarves, isn't it? So just tell us where the idea came from.
Yeah, so about 5-6 years ago, I used to work at this ad agency called Crispin Porter. And one of the mantras of the agency was do, don't say. So it's like, there's all these people that go on about, I'm going to do that. And it's like, just get on with it then. So within the ad agency, it's a creative company. So we were always sort of encouraged to do stuff and actually make things. So I just kind of had this idea, half and half scarves, they're pretty cringy, aren't they, to be honest? So I was like, wouldn't it be funny to do a half and half scarf protesting half and half scarves? So that's sort of where it started. And then, I sort of get it, that kids want a memento of a game or things like that. But a lot of it's corporate hospitality, isn't it? They're sat there and none of them really go for the match. They're there for the beers and they don't really care who wins. So that sort of became the thing. So I started designing these scarves, and I call them half and bath. So I don't know if bath means sick. So it was like
Yeah.
I had a little logo that was like half and bath scarves, one team, one love, end of. And then I started like, right, what are the teams? And I sort of wanted them to, when you first see them, I wanted them to look like they were real half and half scarves. And then when you sort of get a bit closer, you realize it's sort of like taking the piss out of the wearer. So if you see on like that one there, you've got whatevs. And it's just a sort of nod to the indifference of football fans that would have the traitorous behaviour of having two different teams on the scarf. So I kind of got that whatevs. I thought it was quite funny. And then if you look at the logo, it's like a hand flipping you the bird. So even that's a protest. The one underneath was supporting no one. If you've got two teams, you don't care. And the logos on them one are giving you the thumbs down. So there was them two, and then there was another two that I did as well. The one that they didn't take in the design museum was Real Bellend, and it was. I don't think that was as highbrow as they got really. So we had them one. So yeah, there was Real Bellend, whatevs, Sporting no one, and then we had another one which was not spothered, and that was sort of suggesting that you look after yourself, shall we say.
Now you mentioned the design museum, because these were part of a really big exhibition of football paraphernalia, weren't there? Fans.
Yeah, right.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's again, I feel like such a fraud. I kind of, I sort of put these together, found a sort of little company online. They went and made me like 30 or 40 of each, put a little website together. I thought, if I can shift a few of these, it would be quite good fun. And then suddenly I'd sort of put them out and nothing happened. And then a guy came into work and went, "Oh, sorry, your scarf's in Shortlist magazine." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then suddenly my phone just started going ping, ping with all the PayPal orders. So it's like every lunchtime I'm having to go to the post office and send off these scarves all over the world. And then the Independent wrote about them, and then I was asked to go on 5 Live, and it's like it just sort of went a bit crazy. And then after that it goes and dies down, and then out of the blue the Design Museum got in touch, and they said they were doing a big exhibition on culture and design and things within football. So yeah, they took them, but yeah, they left Real Bellend at home for some reason. Maybe where's their sense of humour?
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, John.
So did you not go to that, Graham? Did you not drop in at that museum?
I don't know. I've been to the Design Museum, but I missed that exhibition. The last one I went to was a Stanley Kubrick one there. So you're in the same league as Stanley Kubrick now.
I'll take that. That all day.
Yeah,
it was great. There was so much great stuff in there. Like you said, we were talking before we went on air about, the flags, and there's sort of like a section on fan culture. There was sort of, bits on design from the boots that Pele wore up into modern day and things like that. And a couple of I think there was a Zidane film, I think, where they did a film where I think on his last game, they filmed him with about 10 cameras, and all they did was film him for 90 minutes. So it's like the whole game's going on. But yeah, it's a good thing. But yeah, I still feel like a bit of a fraud,
And you are a hater of the half and half scarf, then, like John is.
They're just bad out there.
I think when they started out, I think like they were originally like a friendship thing. A Liverpool Celtic one, for instance. I think Spurs and Aberdeen had one with a relationship. And
it's like going back to the olden days where you had the bobble hats with Celtic or Rangers on, back in the day. It's sort of like a modern reinvention of that, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah, but when you see a Liverpool Man United scarf at Anfield, you realise it's gone too far. And it's just unacceptable.
But I think the thing I can't stand about it is, like you've just mentioned, the club there, Manchester United or Chelsea, their fans come and they not so much at this moment because there's been a change of attitude, if you like. But they used to come and sing and call us murderers, thieves, nippers, and I've seen people in our ground standing up, holding up the thing, and singing abuse about Manchester United and waving a scarf around with Manchester United's name on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Madness.
and at one game, and several years ago, I think of the year we won the league, and guy I sat with, he's a very big guy, and he just said to this guy, he said, "Do you know what I fancy doing with your scarf?" And I looked at him, he said, "No, what?" And I just thought, oh, I said, leave it. He didn't quite click on, but
Yeah.
and it's
Well, I've done some research and I have found one acceptable half and half scarf.
I think I know it. Don't put it up. I think I know it. Is it the Liverpool Reserves one?
Yes, it's it's Mick from Hat, Scarf and a Badge,
All
and
right, okay.
he's done this one,
That
and
is a banger.
and it's got Shankly in the middle, and Shankly's quote: "There are only two teams in Liverpool, Liverpool and Liverpool Reserves," and Hat, Scarf and a Badge have made it there into a half and half scarf. So that one is
I think we can
acceptable.
accept that one. I think
Yeah.
that's acceptable.
I'd actually quite like one of them because it actually says something about half and half scarves as well as what it says about Shankly and what he
What do you
said.
feel, what do you feel about the European ones? You know, like I get the domestic
I don't
ones.
mind those so much, especially if it was somebody who went away from home and got it away from home. But the Premiership ones are just silly. What about you, John, on the European ones?
Well, yeah, but you walk around Anfield on a Euro night, like when we played Bologna not so long ago, and their fans were wearing them.
Right.
Yeah.
Their fans were wearing Liverpool, so I can see that. But and the European games against most teams are quite friendly.
Yeah.
The away fans at Anfield, they can teach us a few things. Believe you me, they are incredible.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say, I went on holiday last end of May, and I was wearing a Beatle T-shirt on the beach, and the guy who owns the bar came to me and I said, "Can I buy your T-shirt off you? I love Liverpool." I said, "Oh, the football team?" And he said, "No, Liverpool."
All right.
So I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Well, I've got one of these at home." I said, "I might bring it in to you and you can have that one." When I say at home, I meant back in the hotel.
Yeah.
So I walked into his bar and he was showing me around and all these things, and it's fantastic. He's got all these Merseyside groups and the history of the pop mute scene and all that. Then above the door, it's got Liverpool Arsenal half and half scarf. I said, "That's it."
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not having my T-shirt displayed next to that, and I've got nothing against Arsenal.
There's got to be a market for it though, hasn't there? Because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, they sell a bag full of them. You know.
Oh no, I mean, the guys who sell them. I don't know what price they are now, £12, something like that. But I mean, if they're selling a few hundred off their stores, they're making money. But the thing that annoys me about it is, I'm not from Liverpool, but I've always respected the Liverpool culture ever since I was a kid because my mother was from Bootle, and you know what Liverpool is as a city. But these people come now and they've got no idea. They haven't got the foggiest idea, and they will go in the ground at an hour and a half before kick-off and just stand there in an empty stadium taking selfies.
Yeah.
And they've got no clue on
And
what
asking people
Liverpool
which end is the cop and things like that.
Oh, I was standing outside the main stand a few weeks ago, and somebody come up and said, "Can you tell me where the main stand is?" I said, "It's there." You know, it said where it was in 1892, and he looked at me. He said, "Oh, yeah." So, but,
You've been selling the fanzine for that long, John. That shows you how it is the longest lasting.
It does, yeah. And I've not aged too much, have I? Yeah,
No.
So.
Let's bring in our other guest right now. Meet Nicola Cornish. Nicola is from it's the Milton Keynes and Northants Supporters Club. Good evening, Nicola. How are you?
Hi, yeah, no, I'm fine, thank you. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Nicola.
Mad traffic tonight.
Where are you on half and half scarves? And is it Nicola
Well,
or
as
Nikki?
you
Which is your
Nikki,
official?
call me
Nikki.
call me
Okay,
Nikki, yeah.
great. Yeah.
Actually, while you were talking, I thought I'll go and get my favourite half. So here I am on half and half scarves. So completely with you. Don't like them at all in domestic football. That's not what they were for. And we've always, on all our European away trips, we always used to go and get the half and half scarves. And then we've kind of stopped it the last sort of 10 years or so because because of the connotations really of them. Whereas in Europe, they're great. But I did get this one. This is probably my favourite one. This is you see it. It's
Dortmund.
so this is I bought
Yeah.
that in Dortmund so would that have been 2016 when we played there in the Europa League? So I got that at
Yeah.
Sigma Iduna Park, and I do like that one. And I actually took it to Jurgen's final league game. I actually took that one with me, but you can see it's got the Europa League on it. So, but that's probably the last one I bought. But in my wardrobe, I've probably got about 20 from away in Europe, but I'd never ever buy one in England.
I think you get a pass for that one because of
I think so
Jurgen and
too,
Dortmund
yeah.
and it's great colours, isn't it?
John,
Green,
even you would give a
Yeah.
pass on that one, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, as I say, I don't mind so much the European one, but it's when you see these people who are coming from all over the world and parts of the UK, and then they will come past you, and they will say to you, they're wearing a half and half scarf, and you're standing there, and I'm shouting out like I do, and they'll say, "Is that the program?" And
And that's when you
feel
go, yes, sir.
you feel like you want to say go away.
Yeah.
not very politely. So I just say the program used to cost £2 in 1994. Do you remember buying one? No, not been before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
let's talk about your origin stories. Dave, you're a Yorkshireman. How did you end up being a Red?
Just lucky, I guess. I think it's one of them, it's one of them, isn't it? I make no bones about it. I'm not a Scouser. When I was growing up in the playground, it was, Dalglish and Rush. And, you pick your team and you stick with it, don't you? So I think my first real memory back in the day was we had this little tiny white Hitachi telly. It's about this big, portable, black and white. And I wasn't allowed to watch telly in the main room. And I had to watch it in the kitchen, tiny little thing. And I just remember watching like the European Cup final in Rome. And it's like after that, it's just like, well, is it always like this? They're amazing, these lot.
Yeah.
So so that's mine. And then, like I said, up to present day, where my son is called Rafa.
Same as my dog is called Rafa.
Yeah.
We got a rescue dog from Spain, so we had to give him a Spanish name, and I think it was either that or Alonso.
It actually came in handy once. We were on holiday in Spain, and I trashed the hire car, and the Spanish police were like all over me. I'm like, oh shit, what have I done now? And I didn't realise it's illegal not to have your driving licence on you. So they were a bit shitty with me. And then they talked to Rafa just to sort of ask him if I did what I said. I'd be like, oh, I did that. And they asked him and he confirmed it. And then when I said, yeah, he's called Rafa after Benitez, suddenly they were nice as pie to me. These policemen were like, come on, get out of the sun. You little and stay over there. We're just going to take your dad to get his passport. Everything's all right. Don't worry. So, yeah, it's a lucky name,
And Nikki, where are you from?
I live in Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire.
So how did you become a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, so it probably goes around to about when I was about 8 or 9, so that would have been in the late 70s. And I just decided, I was so contrary as a child, and I thought I really want to get into something that the rest of my family don't like. So I thought I'm going to like football. And I thought I haven't got a clue who to support, and I had cousins who were a lot older than me who were brought up in Devon. Now in the 70s, everyone in Devon supported either, if you're a football fan, you supported Liverpool or Man United. And they used to, by this point they were at uni in London. They'd come out, see us have Sunday roast or whatever. And I used to say to them, I really want to support a football team, but I don't know who to. And they said, well, if you support Liverpool, we'll take you when you're a bit older. Because that was the days when you could queue up to go on the away terraces at Arsenal, Spurs, whatever. So they took me to see Liverpool play at Luton when I was about 12, I think was my first game. But before that, I really remember when I was 10 years old, and I think we went to Sidmouth in Devon on a family holiday in May half term. And of course, that was when the European Cup final was on a Wednesday night. So it would have been in 81. So it was when we played Real Madrid in Paris. And I remember saying, we were going to go out for dinner. I was like, I can't go out for dinner. I've just got to watch Liverpool in the European Cup final. And I can remember it so vividly. Sat on the bed in our hotel room, watching on the little telly in the room, Liverpool playing Real Madrid. I just remember seeing them in their bright red shirts and running around with their big silver trophy. And I just remember thinking that just looks like magic to me. So to be fair, it probably sounds like a glory hunter, doesn't it? But it's funny when we went to Paris.
I was going to say that, Nikki. Me and you sound like the two biggest out of town glory
Yeah,
hunters ever. We saw big shiny big
absolutely.
ears, and we're in. We're hooked.
So I'm in, yeah, absolutely. But it's funny when we went to Paris 2 years ago. I thought, God, it's like it took me back to that day because, of course, it was Real Madrid again in Paris. Obviously not with the same outcome, not a good experience, but yeah. So that's kind of when it started. So all through my teens, they used to take me a lot to sort of stand on the away terraces. And then I sort of, once I'd kind of got a job and I could travel, so I started going regularly, probably in early to mid 90s. And then luckily through someone else sort of got my season ticket in 1998, I think. So yeah, and you're just hooked, aren't you? Makes all the time and money going to watch them, everything's worthwhile.
So what was your first game at Anfield then? Do you remember?
I think, and I am the worst person with remembering dates and times, but I think it was 1988, and I think it was the date we picked up the league trophy. And I keep meaning to look this up actually, see who we played. But I'm sure that day we picked up the trophy. I would have been 17. And how I got tickets was because I was so desperate to find someone I knew in Liverpool. That was in the days where you could apply. There was pen pal services, and I had this. So I had these two pen pals. Well, no, one of them. I must have been friends with the other one on the Wirral. So I used to go up and stay with them, and I queued to get on the cop that day with them.
Brilliant.
But I'm so terrible at stats. I couldn't even tell you who were playing that day because I'm not very stat orientated at all.
Do you know, John?
No, I can't remember that one. No,
Yeah.
I'm just
I'll
trying
look
to
it
think
up.
of it. 88.
Yeah. Someone will know, and they'll probably, if you are watching this live and you go to the comments section and just fill in that. Dave, do you remember your first game?
I'm pretty sure it was against Spurs. It would have been in the 80s. Like my uncle was a massive Red. He used to go home and away, Europeans, everything. And I was always the littlest in my school, tiny. And it was like, you're too small, you can't go. And I finally nagged him and he took me. And I think we sat in the main stand and I just watched the cop. I didn't even watch the game. But I think we won 3-1. I'm pretty sure we won 3-1. And we always had a quid on who would get first goal scorer, which I always had to have Dalglish. Pretty much, it was like I'd get first pick because no one's having Kenny. But yeah, it would have been 80 something, but long time ago.
And Nikki, the supporters club, Milton Keynes and Northants Supporters Club, celebrating a big anniversary this year.
Yeah, so it's their 50th anniversary. It was our 50th anniversary we don't actually know what date. We just know it's 50 years this year. So we've decided to commemorate it the weekend of, I think we're playing Fulham at home, maybe the 14th of December. I can't remember why we picked that. So the history of it is, so a lady called Dolly Wallinger, and you'll find stuff on her if you Google her. She set it up in around 1974, and that was when think that was the year, it might have been the year before, that Phil Neale joined Liverpool.
From Northampton.
I have to be corrected. Yeah. I'm not sure what year it was, but basically, Dolly was always a big Northampton Town season ticket holder. Always went there every month, and she knew Phil Neale quite well. So when he went to Liverpool, he said, "Dolly, you must come and watch us play at Liverpool." So she started doing coaches up there, and initially, for about the first year or so, I'm way too young to know this, but people tell me that he used to travel back on the coach after the game.
On the fans'
because he was
coach.
still living in Northampton for a while. Yeah. So so that was and actually Phil Neale came to it. So Dolly died, and I think that would have been 2010, and she was 90 then. So
Well, I met a lady called Dolly in Istanbul at the European Cup final in 2005.
yeah,
And
Dolly wasn't there because
she wasn't there, so it was
wasn't
a
well
different
enough.
Dolly.
She would have
Okay.
been too frail. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She'd have been.
I
She definitely didn't go. She was too frail.
I met her a few times because I used to have a lot to do with the Leicester branch and also the Heart of the Midlands.
Okay. Yep.
Kev Holloway still involved now, and then we got the Leicester one going. It was Dean Evans. In fact, I was talking to Dean earlier on today. And there was another lady who I used to know, Brenda Snape from Birmingham.
Yeah. Who was very friendly with Dolly. Very, very friendly.
Yeah, and I know they used to do, and this is a sad thing you can't do now. They'd stop somewhere, and they'd be like ticket exchange going on.
Yeah. We'd be like, we're short of tickets. Ring up Brenda. Has she got any tickets? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You get Kev or Dean would be, the Bristol branch have got two, and it was like a swap shop, and there was nothing, there was no overcharging. Everything was the said price, and that's how we all functioned, and it was great. But Nicky, you can tell me now. So the Leicester branch now get virtually no tickets. They get a few, but we used to get enough to. And this is just prior to COVID. I moved up here to Chester in just before COVID, and we used to be able to fill a bus for a night game, but now they can't even fill a car. That's how it's got. I don't know whether you've had any problems with getting tickets. This is from the club.
Well, so the easy answer is we don't apply for any. Two reasons for that. One, we fill our coach pretty well with people who've got their own tickets. And so to get tickets from the club, there is a lot of criteria you have to meet now. And those of us who run it, if I'm honest, we just don't have the time to do all of that. So it's a deliberate choice for us. We don't try to, because so for example, we filled a full coach, 52 people for the Chelsea game last Sunday. I think we've got about 46 for the Brighton game this Saturday, and that's all people with their own tickets. So we will have people on there who have. So sometimes I've got a few people who say to me, "Can you sell my tickets?" Which obviously is all done, totally just normal charge. So we'll add them to their friends and family. So we'll have the odd thing like that, so that people who can go on our coach will get the tickets. It means it fills up our coach. We do have a bit of a problem for evening games. But I think some of that is, I have to say, two midweeks running, we had West Ham in the League Cup, didn't we? Then we had Bologna in the Champions League, and both times the M6 was so horrendous that I have to be honest, for the Leverkusen and the Real Madrid game, I'm getting the train up, and I'll either stay out with a friend or come back on the coach, because when I've taken the afternoon off work, I don't want to spend the whole afternoon sat on the M6. So I do think that puts people off going on the coach for midweek games. But we make enough money at the weekends to subsidise. So I feel very strongly we should be running a coach to every home game. So for example, for the League Cup game against West Ham, we probably only had 18 people. So we made a loss of about £400 that day, but we made that back against Chelsea the other week. So as long as we're not looking to make a profit, we just want to break even. So we just feel strongly we need to put on a coach for every home game. So yeah, that's how. So no, the easy answer is we don't actually do tickets. So most people have their own tickets who travel with us.
John, you were going to say something?
No, we used to all have our own tickets, but said they used to the club always used to supply not just
Yeah,
the branch, but they would supply supporters clubs with
yeah,
and away tickets. But now
yeah.
you know they're almost gold dust.
Yeah,
But
well, the club do something else with them now. They make them part of a corporate package, don't they, and charge people 300 quid for a bad meal in the same seat. Yeah.
Yeah.
My niece, who like you, Graham, has been on the waiting list since the 90s. She's now 50, and she's going up on Saturday with a partner and his 2 children. He's not a Liverpool fan, but the family are, and Helena is, and they've had to pay £1,500.
Yeah, see, for corporate ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's all they can get.
Well, I checked my number on the waiting list. As you know, John, I've been on since I think it's about 2008. I've been on the waiting list, and my number was 14,000. So like, and I checked, and they only issue, I think it's just over 100 new season tickets every season to the waiting list. So I'm 60 now. I'll be dead before my number comes up. So unless Roy Hodgson takes over again, and people decide they don't want to renew, I don't think I've got a chance. And the last time I checked, which was a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't even find my number on the website. So I think they've given up as well. I just don't. I think the club's decided there's no point, or either that, or it's just too hard to find it now. Yeah.
But I do remember, and so I do remember Dolly, and they'd meet up. The coaches would meet somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was a lovely lady, and so was I've forgotten her name now. The lady that used to run the Essex Reds,
Pat, she's still
Pat.
around.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
wheelchair. I mean, I
Yeah,
went on her.
I saw her. She was at Arsenal I saw her at Arsenal on Sunday, I think. So she
I
was
mean,
there.
a troublemaker. She used to sit in the front row, and she'd always have an argument with somebody,
Yeah.
a steward or somebody. But I went on her coach. Well, it was because it was New Year, and they hadn't got the numbers. I think this was the Coventry branch, because I think headaches and hangovers and all the rest of it. So they arranged to meet us all up at somewhere about Junction 24 anyway. And I got on their coach, and I thought, I've never known anything like this. Coffee was brought round to you, and biscuits.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing on Pat's coach. Yeah, we went to Burnley on her coach on Boxing Day last year, and yeah, you're on there, and they bring you round teas, and yeah, I know.
Brilliant.
Don't get that on our coach for sure.
You certainly didn't get that on the Leicester coach, I can assure you of that. You might have got it by Christmas if you were lucky, but or in fact unlucky. It was, but no, I mean the good thing about those old supporters coaches was that it was everybody knew everybody, and all the people that ran the coaches knew everybody, and it was I used to ring Pat up and say, have you got any spares? And she used to have an answer phone, and she'd actually. It was like you were ringing the club line back then days, and she'd tell you what tickets were available, what was going on, and then she'd say, "Oh, hello, John. I didn't know it were you." But you had to listen to this recorded message that she had got, and that was possibly before the turn of the century. So, but it was always good fun, and travelling on the coaches was good fun because everybody knew everybody, as I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
The walk through Stanley Park, once you got off, if you didn't know somebody, you were definitely a stranger.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Arsenal game. Let's talk about what's going on then. So you were there, Nikki. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I definitely think you always have a different when you're in a ground, and particularly because we were quite near the front, so you don't have such a good perspective. You probably have a different thought to me on telly, and I haven't watched any of it back.
It's
so
not a great view
people
from
might
Arsenal.
correct
It's
me.
weird, isn't it, that away section there? It's
No.
not a great view
Yeah.
in that corner. Yeah.
Good fun though if you score.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. Before the game, I thought if you offered me a point, would I take it? And I wasn't sure. By half time, I was definitely taking a point. I suppose my concern about our squad has always been, and I'm not one of these. I find transfers the most boring things in the world to talk about. Honestly, I do. Um, but I've always been a bit concerned that we're a bit light in midfield. We've got some great midfielders, but physically we're probably quite light. And I thought that really showed up in the first half. We were really outmuscled in midfield, but and I was thrilled with our equaliser, with the Salah equaliser, because I think there's been a lot of times this season, probably last season, where you've seen Salah and Nunes in those positions, and one of them always makes the wrong pass, or they shoot when they should pass, and so it was lovely to see that go in. So overall, I was pleased with the point. I mean, I suppose I came into this season with very little expectation. So I'm the most optimistic fan you'll find. I never get down about results really, because I just think it's just not just a game, because it feels like, I absolutely love watching Liverpool, but I try and always be positive and upbeat, and I thought there was lots of positive things. I liked the way we really stuck in and hung in there when it would have been easy not to. I thought Konate was sensational at the back. As with Van Dijk, but we kind of just take him for granted, I think, now. But I thought Konate was phenomenal. Because I'm sure, and like I said, I've got a terrible memory, but I think when we lost there last year, I think him and Alisson might have mucked up for their final, for us.
That was
final goal, maybe.
Van Dijk and Alisson. Van Dijk and Alisson last year.
Oh, was it Van Dijk, Alisson, was it? Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I was happy with the point at the end of it, and I'm fine. I think other than Man City home and away, we probably won't have a tougher game in the league this season. So, yeah, pretty pleased with it.
Dave, what did you reckon?
Yeah, the first half was not great, was it? I think the only person more nervous than the fans seemed to be the keeper. I mean, like every time he kicked the ball, like he was like, "Fucking hell, what are we doing?" And I'm like, I get it, play out from the back, but Jesus Christ, it was nervy. Don't
you think he's really good with his feet, though, Kelleher? I can honestly say I never felt nervous once with the ball. I think Alisson is clearly a better all-round keeper, but I think he's better with his feet than Alisson. I definitely think he is. But maybe I see it differently.
I thought that first half, no one was hitting the passes right. Now, I mean, it was nervy. I mean, Robbo was not great either, was he? But I mean, anyone can get shown up by Saka, who made a miraculous recovery from his injury, as did half of their team of two or whatever it was. No, it was good. I think it was one there. I watched it in the pub with a gang of Reds, and it's very much like you say, Nicky. It's like before you go, you don't ever want to go and say you'll take a point, but if you get it, you're happy with it. And then as you start off, you get to half time, you're like, God, if we get out of here without a hiding, we'll be happy. And then it swings, and I don't know. There's something where they just sort of sat back and they settled instead of going for the throw, which gave us hope. And then you think like, actually, we can nick this. And I think like it's just that slot team now is just a bit more control, whereas Jurgen's team, towards the end of that game would have just gone for it, and we'd have either won or we'd have just got caught on the counter and lost, and your heart would have you'd probably had a heart attack or something. But no, I think I was really encouraged. I mean, Konate was amazing, but I was sort of really encouraged by Nunes as well. I think like something good must be happening, because I don't know about you, I didn't expect him to stop and look up and pick out that right pass for Salah.
I honestly thought he'd muck it up, if I'm honest.
And so hopefully, I really like Nunes. He's one of them just like gets the crowd. He just gives it everything. He's just a bit of a lunatic, isn't he? But I thought that was encouraging. But yeah, I think they did get a bit bullied, didn't they? In the first half in midfield, it felt a bit sort of non-existent. But yeah, it would take the point. I'm sure they'll feel like it's points dropped as well. But with Man City, the problem is like anything other than a win feels like, even if you go to your hardest rivals and away and draw, it's like, yeah, but if you don't get 95 points, you still ain't got a chance, So And that's what makes it nervy, isn't it? Like every point is massive.
John, what do you reckon?
Well, I agree with both comments actually, because just going on the Arsenal injury situation on Friday, I thought, well, they're not going to get, unless they go to Lords or get a faith healer, and they're not going to have a side out. Because all you could hear was, "Oh, this one's out," and you're almost pitying them. Then on Sunday, I looked at the start of the season, go back there, and I looked at our first number of games, and I thought, right, we can win all of those. The only doubt I've got is Manchester United. Yeah. And fortunately, we went and won there. But the one game we lost, and Graham knows how I feel about this, losing to Nottingham Forest is the world's worst nightmare. Because
John's missus
my wife and all her family are Nottingham Forest fans. And of course, I had to come home, and there was a bottle of champagne in the fridge, so it wasn't the best time. But I buried my head in the sand and let it go. But going back to Saturday, I thought that was Chelsea. I thought was the first real tough test. Looking at the game this season, because Chelsea's got a pretty decent side, and they play a very similar game to Liverpool. So we won that, and I thought, right, that's good. Then we got Arsenal, and I thought if we get a point from there, that is a great result. Forgetting all the rubbish about them basically not having enough players to fill the bench. I thought the first half we could have gone in a far worse situation, but we didn't, and that's got to give our team some credit for hanging in there. And then the second half, I thought we were the better side, and I thought we deserved the draw. And what I do, you mentioned in Nunes, but you can certainly see it on the television, and I don't think you quite see it in the ground quite so much, Nicky. But when he was going forward and he looks where Salah is, and he instinctively put the ball where Salah wanted it, and there were 4 Arsenal players in that area, one of ours, and Salah in the net. And tremendous. And I'd have taken a point at the start. And when I went to bed on Sunday night, I wasn't disappointed that we got a point.
The big disappointment for me.
Nunes, sorry.
No, go ahead, Nicky.
I was going to say, I wonder with Nunes as well, I wonder if what's helped him is Jota being out injured. In that, I think before he was coming in, it was always, I know I'm going to get not dropped, but Jota might play the next game. So I think, and I haven't seen it, but apparently today Slot said Jota won't be back till after the international break. So I wonder whether for Nunes, knowing he is the main man up front from now till at least the next international break, hopefully will help him further, because he'll know I am now getting a run of games. So I think that might be good for him. I suppose we've got Brighton tomorrow night, then there's 3 ample, isn't there, before the next break. So.
But I think that last season, if you look at Nunes and Salah, they actually created goals for each other. I don't use this word assist. They created these goals for each other, and they were playing very well together. And then suddenly, Nunes wasn't getting picked. And I always say we don't know what's going on the training ground, so we can't criticise too much. But Nunes wasn't getting picked, and the team were winning games. So so it's one thing or the other. But I actually feel Nunes is a good player. He has a difficulty with the language. Whereas McAllister speaks almost Scouse now. He's basically took to it like a duck takes to water. But Nunes is, I love the guy. I just think when you see him on the pitch, there's something about him that makes you feel like that's me. He's running everywhere, and
it's one of them things as well. Like last year, didn't he hit the bar and the post something like 12 times?
So
you think if 6 of them go in out of 12, that's fair, isn't it? Half of them go in.
Well, we used to say that
and it changes the narrative.
He either hit the post or was offside. You know, 'cause
Yeah.
I know I can't remember who we were playing, but there was a VAR, and the guy behind me said, "Well, it was Nunes, it must be offside." You know, and it was at the Anfield Road end, so we couldn't tell. We couldn't exactly see, but he said if it was Nunes, it must be offside, and he was. You know.
Yeah.
I'm sure I saw a stat, and my memory's not the best, but I'm sure I saw a stat of his goals and assists. It might not have ended the season like that, but really close to the end of the season. His goals and assists were pretty much the same as Vinicius Jr. And one's up for the Ballon d'Or and one's the biggest flop you've ever heard. It's like narratives in football drive you mad, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I tell you, in this house, Nunes can do no wrong, because last season he scored that last second goal at Nottingham, and I can remember being So that night the champagne was on me. Well, it wasn't champagne; it was like sour grapes. But
Yeah.
yeah. But going back, you know, to supporters clubs, I think you used to get when I used to travel up on the Leicester coach, it was fantastic. So it's the one thing I miss about living where I lived. It was the travel upon the supporters coach. You used to get so many different opinions on the way there, and so many different opinions on the way back. And I used to sit there for the fanzine, and used to take notes. You know, just what people were saying, and it was. You get the one guy. You must have them. You got the one guy who going up. Everything in the garden was rosy. They're going to win everything, and then coming home, it was sack them, get rid of him, do this.
Same fella. Yeah.
These were the characters.
Yeah.
You know, and but they used to have so many different little traits, and that but you'd stop at Sandbach, and they'd all go and get these burgers, and then come back and complain about the price. Why have you bought one?
Yeah. Well, now we've got a supporters union, haven't we? The Spirit of Shankly, and they're getting quite militant now. There was a banner at Arsenal. Did you see this, Nikki, when you were there? The Stop Exploiting Loyalty banner. John, do you want to talk about this?
I must be honest.
That's a photo from Arsenal from Sunday. John, do you want to know? Do you want to talk about this? Because this is part of a bigger campaign, isn't it? Not just us, too, not just Liverpool.
What they're doing is they're trying to, well, not just Liverpool. It's not just the Spirit of Shankly. There's a lot of clubs now that their loyalty is being exploited. I mentioned Nottingham Forest. They've done away with concessions. So somebody who was buying a junior buying a ticket for something like £200 last year has now got to pay something like £800. So it's really kicked off at West Ham, where their board have stopped concessions for juniors and senior citizens, and you know it's just gone ridiculously priced, and there's too much now of we want to sell tickets to the people from
Thailand,
Asia or wherever, and they will pay these obscene prices, because if you go on holiday, from England to Greece, and you can go to do something, you pay something in advance, and it's a couple of £100 to go. Let's just say you want to go and see one of the major sites. You don't worry too much about it, because it's just another £200 on your holiday bill.
and it's a once in a lifetime a lot of times too. Yeah.
And these people are coming from abroad, and they're paying another £500-600 for their ticket, and they get them from the club. And you know, if you go, I don't know if you've ever been in the Paisley and Shankly lounges, but you go in there, and you are not getting any benefits whatsoever. You pay over £400, you get no benefits whatsoever. You can get a sandwich if you look.
Yeah, I've been in one. Is it the one in the Lower Kenny, and you get a cup of tea. That's all you get. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what this campaign's about. It's try and stop overcharging. I mean, I will be fair to Liverpool. They didn't, when they put their prices up 2%. It wasn't as obscene as some of these clubs that are doing it, almost doubling the prices. But that's where football's going. You know, and it's got to be stopped.
Yeah.
And hopefully there will be a football regulator brought in eventually who will say you can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just going to a game. It's not just, Nicky, the price of a coach has gone up. How much has that gone up since COVID? You
Yeah.
go, you travel up from London. You guys do, and how much is it on the train? You know, everything is going up and up and up. And the day of football being the working class game, there's some guys standing outside the ground. This was when we were playing Chelsea, and they were wearing suits and they got these bags with them. They looked like they'd been to Harvey Nicks, and they were going into the ground. And I just thought, how? And I said to my mate, I said, bet they're not going to get searched. You know, it was just crazy.
So there's going to be
I
a
don't-
protest at Anfield, isn't there, John, with Spirit of Shankly over this?
Sorry?
There's going to be a protest. Spirit of Shankly are organising something. Is it the?
Protest. The protest throws up a different meaning.
Okay.
It's just a campaign to try and get all clubs on side about their loyalty being exploited.
Right, and this
You-
is
you
happening
know-
at the Brighton game, the league game, the home game on the Saturday.
Everybody can remember going to the bowling ground, the old Upton Park. West Ham was it was more working class than any. Now they're at this ground somewhere, and soulless, and they've been exploited, and that's wrong. That is one thing that's wrong with football. Sadly, I go back to the days when you could go and queue up, and like you said, Nick, your first game you queued up at away grounds and got in. Now try and get to an away game.
I don't want to do that, by the way. Queue up.
Sorry?
I said, I
Sorry?
don't want to be queuing up, thank you.
No,
I don't want to be queuing up. No, I
How
know
do
you
we
mean, I'm
stop-
joking.
How do we stop it? How do we stop it though? Because they don't care, do they? Unless you can get every fan mobilise, every fan from every club to boycott stadiums, or do you know what I mean? Until you can damage them financially, they don't give a shit, really. That's the depressing bit, isn't it?
I don't know, Nicky, if you went to Leipzig.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and how much was a ticket to go in the away end?
£13. 13.
30.
You can't even buy a pint of
But
lager in
I
London.
would say that's very extreme. That's very unusual for a European away game. Even in Germany, I think at Bayern Munich it was probably quite a lot more than that, maybe. I think though, going to these, I think the most powerful things you can do are. Do you remember when we played? Was it Sunderland? Was that been in 2016 when we did the big walkout?
Yeah,
That was so powerful, I think. And actually,
Is that the
what
20 is
really
plenty
helped?
campaign? Was it
Yeah,
for away tickets?
no,
Yeah.
no, that wasn't it. This was the one where they were going to have £77 tickets in the main stand, wasn't it? So on the
Right.
77th minute,
They
probably
walked
about
out.
15,000 of us walked out. And do you know what? Before the game, I was really divided about walking out because I kept thinking, I don't want to feel like I'm letting my team down, but actually, you've got to take a stand sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I did walk out, and I'm really glad I did. And actually, probably what helped as well was I think we were 2-0 up when we walked out, and we ended up drawing 2-2, which was absolutely perfect, really, for the protest. But I do think I genuinely believe there are people at the club who do care about some of the loyal fan base. You know what they've got to be careful of is that, they trade Liverpool on this big look at the cop, look at all our scarves, and they need to keep that. That's part of it. I mean, I do think someone said to me the other day, "Oh, do you remember the 2005 Chelsea European Cup semi-final? Look at the cop then." And I think with that, we have got to accept the fact that people have video phones now, and it's definitely not just foreign people who do it. Believe me, funnily enough, where my season ticket is, I have I think they must have a few sort of tourist rows, if you like, in front of me, and they definitely sing more than the local people who sit around me, without a doubt. So I always feel like I should try and be balanced here, because and it's like with anything, wherever you come from, it's like, I love Liverpool, I love the culture of Liverpool, and I always think I can't get how you could support Liverpool and not be understanding or have empathy and be aligned with the principles of the socialism of the city. If you felt completely opposite to that, I don't really know how you could support. I'm not saying you can't support the club. I personally don't know how you could do, because I think, and people say politics shouldn't be in football, but that's not how life is. Everything is aligned and stuff. So I don't know where I was going with that really, but you just, I'm just saying that it'll be interesting because of course Liverpool have done their ticket survey this week.
Yeah, I was
they've asked
brutal
fans to
on
fill
it.
that
By the way, I
in.
don't know if did anyone feel it. I filled mine in. I was brutal. I was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
kind at all.
I filled mine in. Well, I don't think you can moan if you don't fill them in. But I thought actually, it's going to be real. I mean, I don't really know what they're going to do with it, because let's be honest, everyone's going to put their own agenda, aren't they?
Mm.
If I'm a season ticket holder who goes to every home game and pretty much every away game, so if anyone said to me, you can't have your season ticket anymore, so you've got to give some of your tickets to other people for some matches, I would fundamentally think that's really wrong, because
Yeah,
I go to every away European game, and I don't see why I shouldn't be able to get a ticket for them. But that's just my viewpoint, and I get that. So I didn't put that on the survey because that wasn't really what I was asking. But my point is that most people are going to say what they think to suit their agenda, aren't they? So, I mean, I think good for them for doing the survey, but I'm not really sure what they're going to do with it. Um, to be honest, because you are never ever going to get a solution that everyone's going to be happy with. I mean, I put on there, you need to try and cut out you need to do better about cutting out touts, because I think that benefits, you know, everybody. There should be more. I mean, I would say in away games, most people who are there have not been touted, but you definitely see people who've obviously been scammed by, well, presumably by season ticket holders, because that's in the end where it comes from. And of course, you get some of the, the bigger hospitality members who get their away tickets. But I suppose my point is, no one's going to be happy with any solution, are they? Because it's what suits you.
Mm.
That's true. It's what suits you. I mean, yeah, I'm probably too long in the tooth now, but I just wish we could go back a little bit and just say, let's just look at how things were before all this madness of, and a lot of it's come since COVID. This madness has really took a hold. But the club do trade on. They'll say they'll say next week another Anfield European night. Well,
Yeah.
the only good thing about some of the European nights of recent times been the away fans. They've been absolutely brilliant. And I sit there and look at them. I think that is some support. That is, these guys have come all the way from Italy, and last year in the Europa League. I mean, blimey, some of those people that came, they loved it, because this was Anfield. This was their. I'm not saying it was their dream, because I mean it might have been Old Trafford if they wanted to go, but it was fantastic. Some of the support that they showed, and then we were beating one team. I think it was 4-0, and they were still singing and shouting. The cop was sitting there thinking, just watch them. It was great. Yeah. But the club trade on the match day experience, and this is my personal view. The match day experience has changed dramatically, and it's the way it is. But we won't change everything. But I think what the Spirit of Shankly is trying to do is make the club aware that we want to speak. That is, have dialogue and keep we've got fans supporters board, but they weren't asked about the 2%. Had they have been asked, they might come to some. Okay, we can understand why you're doing it. But 2%, what did it bring in the club? A couple of £1 million. They could have played a friendly and got that much money in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'd been a lovely PR move, wouldn't it, if they'd have said, we recognise, the area we're in and the cost of living at the moment. And you're right, for the sake of a few million, you just think you should have just kept it. I mean, I can afford the extra 2%. I'm not going to say I can't, because I can, but it's not really the point, is it? There's, there's a lot of people there that would really help them not paying that extra 2%. So,
Well,
Yeah, it's a
the thing that I go back to is when I was a kid, I used to be able to go to a game of football on my own, and I was talking when I was 11 and 12, and I was living in Leicester. Now you have to be with a parent or an adult to go to a game. So that's all gone. The kids coming up and queuing up outside the cop. Obviously, they don't do that. I now appreciate all that,
Well, the
but
boys' pen used to be 40p. I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Graham, I can remember when it was 3 and 6. So
Okay.
um, it was. It's all changed, and the whole match day experience has changed. And I just find it. You've got people now who come to Liverpool. I saw a family. It was 2 years ago. We played Everton when we'd beaten them 2-0, and I was in the soccer bus queue going back to town, and there were a couple of people in front of me, 3 people, and I said, they got their armbands on." I said, "Were you in hospitality today?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "All right. Do you mind me asking you how much it cost?" It's £300.
Wow.
And the 3 of them, one was a young lad, maybe
Yeah.
10, 11. So they had to pay £300 for him.
Yeah.
And what's he going to get out of it? He can't go and get a couple of gins in or whatever. Maybe he can. Uh,
Right.
so there's got to be something somewhere where the game gives a little bit more back to the fans. And I'm not talking about just Liverpool. I'm talking about football in general.
Well, yeah, because they saw during COVID what football on the TV looks like when there's no crowd in there. It's just not the same. So the crowd is part of what they're selling to the TV companies. Yet the crowd are being exploited for the club to make even more money. And that's one of the reasons why Liverpool is one of the ones that is on the
Do you
TV
know
a lot.
one of the things I noted? I'm going back now to the days of Alec Ferguson, and you went to Manchester United, and there was no real atmosphere. There's more atmosphere now because they're not doing very well than there was when they were winning everything. But go back to the 90s at Anfield. People say the atmosphere was supercharged. It was nowhere near like it was in the 60s because people used to go to Anfield and they used to think, "Oh, who are we playing today? Southampton, oh, we'll beat them, won't we?" And you did. That was it. So, yeah, that was how it was. So, but yeah, you were going in the 90s, Nicky, and going to Anfield was quite a strange experience. It was, to anyone that can remember the glory days, all of a sudden it was totally different.
I think also what wasn't helped with European games. I think it will be a lot different against Leverkusen next week and against Real Madrid. We just haven't really had. We have. I think we're a fan base who react on emotion and what's going on. Like the noise at Anfield last May at Jurgen's last game for the last 10 minutes was phenomenal. And I think there's definitely been times where I don't think what you can do, and I'm not saying you are, but what I don't think people can't do is compare to sort of 30, 40 years ago. We live in a completely different world where people have got phone. It's just different. It's never going to be the same. And I've actually, the last few games, I have to be honest, I never used to take my scarf with me. I've started to take one the last few games. So I thought, do you know what? I think that looks great. So why am I not taking part of it? I'm as bad as other people, so I always take a scarf now. But I do think the bigger the game, the better we are. And I think, and I think the Europa League, John's right. It was really quite quiet at Anfield for those apart from the away fans. But I kind of thought that was what would be the case because for us it wasn't really where we wanted to be, and for the fans coming over, it was a big thing for them. And even when we went to the away games, I think most of the time um, they were pretty loud. So yeah, I just think we sort of react to what's on in front of us on the pitch. So, for example, when we beat Barcelona in 2019, there's absolutely no way we'd have won that if that had been behind closed doors at all. And I think we wouldn't, I think And it's funny actually because with that game, I mean I'm really optimistic, but I didn't go to that game for a minute thinking we were going to go through. I just thought, well, it's a Champions League semi-final, I should be going. And it was only kind of when I got in the ground, I thought, oh my God, it's really loud in here. And then because we got the early goal, it was just amazing, wasn't it? So
Yeah. All right. Well, we're rapidly running out of time, so we need to talk about the next live event, the Peter Beardsley night a few weeks ago. John, do we have a full total that you're donating to the community basket in Anfield yet, John?
Yeah, it's going to be £1,500.
Nice. In one night we did that. Yeah. It was a nice night too. And Peter Beardsley was great.
It's a lot less than we raised at the Kevin Keegan night last year, but the prices were lower.
And if you get the latest fanzine, centre pages, it's all there, including a picture of me and Peter Beardsley. It's got everything. Yeah.
But we do these things, and we don't do these things to make money for ourselves. We do these things to support the community. And I've tried to tell people over the last 30 years, on November the 19th, Red All Over the Land will be 29. So we've got the event on the 16th, which is basically the 29th birthday. And during that time, we've raised nearly £40,000 for charities.
Yeah.
And, you know, we get very little, we get no publicity other than what we create ourselves, other than word of mouth. So, you know, we're trying now. We're looking at next year supporting Zoe's Place.
Yeah.
So
who's the Ronnie Whelan night? Where's that one? What's that one raising money for?
No, it's still for the community basket.
Oh, it is. Okay, right. Yeah.
We want to make a donation to Red Men TV's fund, which I think stands at over £30,000.
That's for Zoe's Place, yeah.
So if we can do that, and I'm going to meet Zoe's Place on Thursday. I'm going up there to have a chat to them and invite them along.
But there still are tickets available, aren't there, for the Ronnie Whelan night at Hotel Anfield on November the 16th, only a couple of weeks away. How do they get them, John?
Well, they can go on the website.
redallovertheland.com.
Yeah, and buy tickets on there. Or they can, if they're on Twitter or X or Facebook, just get in touch with me. I've pumped it and pumped it and pumped it. So we're still trying to get people to come.
And on the night, not only are there great auction lots, but you can also win something great in the raffle. I mean, some of the raffle prizes were as good as the stuff people were bidding big money for in the auction as well. And a raffle happening again for the Ronnie Whelan night. You don't have to go to the night to buy the raffle tickets. You can get them at redallovertheland.com as well, John.
Yeah, and the thing is that the Peter Beardsley night, we had what we call the envelope prize, where you put £10 in an envelope and then we draw one out. And they got a replica League Cup trophy, Football League trophy, which was 64 centimetres, and it was almost an exact replica of the old lady. That Liverpool won 18 times, and its trophy resided in Anfield 19 times because it resided there once under the offices of Everton. So it's and Graham, you're the host. The events are good fun. We don't take it serious. And Peter Beardsley, I mean,
we couldn't get him off.
About 45 minutes, and we couldn't get him off.
It was like Ken Dodd timing his act with a calendar. Yeah,
we had to cancel the band.
We did. But Ronnie Whelan should be great.
The band had been played.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks.
Dave, if you want to come along, just drop me a line. I know you don't live locally, but these events are good fun, and we want to take these events out of not just Merseyside. We want to come down to other parts of the country and put them on. So we're looking at all that.
Yeah. All right. Anything to say finally, Dave? Do you want to sign off?
No, thanks for having me. It's been really good fun just having a natter with some like-minded Reds. Good luck with Ronnie Whelan night, and let us know when you get that print through in the post, and we'll give a little shout out for you.
I've actually got a picture of this. Is this the right picture I've got there? I need to. I need to make it a bit bigger. So this is something. Will this be in the raffle, John, or will this be something you have to bid for?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get that all signed up and everything. And these are like John's favourite. There's 1984. These are Penguin books, aren't they?
Yeah. So this is a thing that me and a friend, Mark, who's actually a Blue, he started this quite a long time ago. Originally, he used to do bits for Everton's fanzine. Is it When Skies Are Grey?
It was.
And he works in an ad agency, and I was in there and I saw one of the covers, and he'd done My Left Foot by Kevin Sheedy, and I was like, oh, I really like that. That's brilliant. I said we should do them for all clubs. And we thought, oh, we'll set up this thing called Footy Classics, and it's just reimagining a player or a moment as a sort of Penguin book. And we thought, oh, we'll maybe do 10, 12 of them. About 5 years later, we've done about 800 of them. We've done collabs with people all over the world. We've made them in Sabutio, the lot. But yeah, I really love when they're a real classic where we don't even have to change the title. So 1984,
that's the one.
Taking that classic and making it Joe Fagan, and then we sort of cheat a little bit, and but yeah, we've done those. Every club we do different ones, and we had a great one for Kevin Keegan, which was Perms of Endearment, which we thought was quite funny. It's a good outlet. Mark's a brilliant designer, and he does illustration and stuff, but it's a good outlet for my sort of dad gags, and and we write a little synopsis. So give it a follow. It's called at Footy Classics, and we sent a print down so you guys raffle that off, and maybe someone will want it.
And you're on Twitter as well?
Yeah, so Footy Classics is on Twitter and Instagram, and then my personal Twitter is Dave Newbold, and that's because whenever I say my name Dave, everyone goes Dave. So I just thought
the bit I liked on Twitter was your missus went to the Olympics, and you put one on there. You said she's going away for a month, but then you said something funny about Team Newbold as well.
Oh, right, yeah. My missus is, I always call it Dad Nam when my missus goes away. She went to the Olympics for a month, so I had 2 kids to sort of give vegetables to for a month. But yeah, no, he's doing well. But yeah, no, thanks for having us on. It's been great to chat to you guys.
And you too, Dave. And thanks for coming on as Nikki. First time for you too. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'd just say, let's enjoy the rest of the season. Let's just enjoy the journey and just see where it takes us, I guess.
John?
Yeah, definitely. But just going to say at this night for Ronnie Whelan, we've also got, this is one that you could come up with a good book design. We've got Gordon Wallace there. Now, Gordon scored the very first goal for Liverpool in Europe back in 1964. In Reykjavik. Yeah. I've just been attacked by my cat Jerry, and he's older than I am, and he's coming along. So
because we get lots of the families, don't we? Had Roger Hunt's daughter at the last one, and we had Tommy Lawrence's family. Yeah, we get a lot, and George Sefton is always there. The voice of Anfield always makes it to these events. Yeah. So it's a good chance to meet them and catch up with them as well. It's great. Get George's book signed and all the rest of it. Okay, John, thank you very much. So the 16th of November, tickets at redallaovertheland.co.uk. Sorry, redallaovertheland.com. Yes, John.
I'm just going to say, I agree with Nicky. Let's enjoy the journey. It's a journey that's started a long, long time ago in 1960 something, and it's not stopped yet. It had a couple of bumps in the road, it's like potholes that the government keeps saying they're going to fix, but they don't. We had the bits of the 90s, we had Roy Hodgson, a couple of other bits, but what's not to love about being a Liverpool fan when you think about it? Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Well, and remember, you'll never walk alone.